So the young Punisher, Pedro Munhoz, has to fight arguably a younger, longer, lankier version of himself in El Guapo, Chris Gutierrez. And this was one of those moments where we needed to realize, can the old dog, Pedro Munhoz, right, can he shut down the young up-and-comer, right, the young dude, Factory X Muay Thai, technical, leg kicker, all that good stuff, and can he do it in a fashion that's impressive? Now, he did it. I wouldn't say it's the most impressive fashion, but I thought this was one of those interesting fights where Pedro Munhoz got outstruck in the totality of the fight, but still won 30-27. And I'm not going to say that the wrong man won, because no, I thought Pedro Munhoz did win. I just thought it was interesting how Munhoz was able to shut down Chris Gutierrez by offering a little bit of that power in the form of that nasty left hook. So no wrestling, no jiu-jitsu. He says, yeah, you're a big kicker. Go ahead and keep kicking, because every time you throw in for that long one, I'm going to extend with that left hook, and I'm going to catch you slipping. Do you think Chris Gutierrez was gun-shy for that reason, or do you think that this is just a normal product against fighting Pedro Munhoz?
I think he was gun-shy after getting dropped on the first round. Because before that, man, Gutierrez was looking slick. But once he got dropped, right, I believe it was towards the end of the first round, somewhere around there, then you kind of started to see him like, oh, no. Like, instead of throwing the 4 or 5 punch combos, he was just throwing one at a time. One kick, and then reset. One punch, reset, and look what's coming his way. That's kind of where I saw the gun shyness come from Chris Gutierrez, because Munhoz, as old as this dude is, we say the young Punisher, but he still is a veteran in the game. He can put you to sleep, and we saw exactly that. Homeboy can crack, and as much as Gutierrez, you said it, Derek, he's a younger, or basically a carbon copy clone of Pedro Munhoz, except for that power, man, and Munhoz, the pressure that he's able to put on, consistently, always in your face, and you hit him, he doesn't really blink much. He's right there. It's a draining factor in a fight to stand against a guy who's seeing that, especially because you're right, Derek. I think the right guy won, but it was a close fight. Besides the first round, I had them both very close, where either one could have won rounds 2 and rounds 3. What do you think, Derek? Because this is close as because 30-27 doesn't seem close, but I thought it was a lot closer than that. But I wouldn't say I'd score rounds for Gutierrez necessarily, so the score's right?
Yeah, it's one of those where you can have a 30-27 and it can still be a very close fight. And it's weird because a lot of people don't understand that. But the reality is they went tit for tat, and Pedro Munhoz just did more. He just did more. And that was my kind of weird thing. Especially, remember what I said in the pre-show? I was like, what has Gutierrez done to merit minus 115 decision prop against a guy like Pedro Munhoz? That's the thing that confused me. Now, ultimately, I rolled with it, and I rolled the dice the wrong way on that one, because Pedro Munhoz by decision, I mean, he just I don't know, man. It's that thing where, and I'm stumbling on my words on this against Pedro Munhoz, because it's almost like it's hard to describe in words what he's able to do. On paper, Chris Gutierrez should have won this fight on paper. But Aljamain Sterling also said something. He's like, why do you think when I fought Munhoz, I was on my bike the whole time? You can't stay in front of this man for too long without him throwing something nasty at you. And the thing about Chris Gutierrez is, this is the other thing that I didn't really realize. Gutierrez is a technician. And technicians are at their best when the pace is dictated on their terms and when they're not being forced back in a pressured, bullied way. Well, Pedro Munhoz said, I'm going to bully you, and I'm not going to make this a technical fight. I'm going to make this a brawl, and I'm going to get in your face. And even though it was still so high level and so technical, he took away Chris Gutierrez's ability to sit there and just kind of go tit for tat and perform at his own pace and leisure. And I think that right there is veteranship, craftsmanship, elder statesmanship. That is what makes Pedro Munhoz the gatekeeper of the division, man. So, number 9, defends his rank. But the question is, what's next for Pedro Munhoz? What do you think?
Yeah, Derek, it's a hard one, man, because, again, not a lot of time left in the championship run. And if we're being honest, I don't see Pedro Munhoz necessarily getting back to the championship now. But what's next for him, man? I think a lot of fun fights. Sure, it's going to be matched up against a lot of young guys. But if he can still have this flashy performance, have the speed, the output, all this kind of stuff, man, I think we're just looking for fun right here with Pedro Munhoz. What do you think?
I hope so, but if you look at who they match him up against, aside from Chris Gutierrez, it's just been all killer's row. It's been nonstop, the top of the top, the elite people right there, and they can keep feeding them to him, but I do think that he is now going to be that guy where these young guns, the Chris Gutierrez is the people on the come up, he has to fight those guys. He has to keep defending his rank, and if he keeps defending his rank, ultimately you will creep up enough in the rankings to where maybe you get a shot, but this is a stacked division, and I wouldn't bank on it. Big win by the young veteran Punisher, Pedro Munhoz, baby.